Hey, what's going on? So the purpose of this video is to give you guys a complete tutorial on how exactly to integrate an AI appointment setter into all sorts of messaging platforms. I'm talking Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, SMS, email. I'm going to go over how you can apply all of those onto an AI appointment setter and start nurturing your leads on autopilot. So this is just kind of a visual to show you the top of funnel, getting leads, middle of funnel, setting appointments, and bottom of funnel, closing your clients. Now, what we're going to be doing here today is leveraging ad traffic, organic content, and then even plugging lead lists over into the AI appointment setter that we're going to build. And then the AI appointment setter's whole objective is going to be to nurture the lead, follow up with the lead, and try to book them onto a sales call so that you can hopefully close them into a paying client. And to show you guys a few examples of the system in action, we're literally running ad campaigns for our clients right now and funneling all this lead traffic over to the AI appointment setter. Here for this lead, we've generated him 600 leads and we've been able to push them all over to the AI appointment setter, in which we built him out custom conversations to book leads onto sales calls. Or for this client, we're doing the same thing, both data collection and just pushing them straight over to Instagram DMs, in which we're conversing with the lead and booking them onto a sales call. But the awesome part is the opportunities are endless. Here we got a stock trader in which we were sending over P&L statements to show that he walks the walk. And this is all a completely automated conversation. And then here's an example of some brick and mortar businesses in which we were using SMS appointment setting, conversing with the leads back and forth, and then booking them onto a consultation call. Now, I just really want to open your mind on the fact that quite literally, if you can think of it, you can build an AI appointment setter on it. Now, if you're currently using an appointment setter or manually texting people yourself in order to book your sales calls, I just want to tell you that that can indeed be automated. These AIs are autonomous and they're capable of responding to leads 24/7, can literally have infinite conversations simultaneously, and it's just very complementing for scale, specifically when you run ads onto it. And the way these builds are set up, as I'll show here today, all you're doing, see the two manual tasks that are taking place that I highlighted in yellow are the top of funnel and bottom of funnel. Top of funnel meaning running your ads, pushing out organic traffic, and then pushing out lead lists, and then bottom of funnel, literally hopping on your sales calls. The AI build that I'm going to show today helps to nurture your leads and offload all the middle part. So all you have to do is record content, post ads, and then hop on your sales calls to close your clients. So in order to get this done, we're going to be using GoHighLevel, Make.com, and OpenAI. Anyways, let's get into it. So just to start off with GoHighLevel, this is going to be your centralized location in which all the lead conversations are going to take place. And I want to also show that the AIs are able to be set up in such a way we're able to track all the leads that are coming through your pipeline, track where they are in the life cycle. As you can see here, I'm able to track anywhere a lead is, when the call's been proposed, if they booked in, if they haven't replied to me. I've even got new leads that are coming in that the AI hasn't reached out yet to, because I like to set mine up on a little bit of a delay. And then, seeing the front facing view, it just looks really pretty, seeing all your analytics straight up in there. And the reason we're going to be using Make.com and an OpenAI account is because the AI that's specifically hosted within GoHighLevel honestly sucks. It has handcuffs on it and it's intended to be user friendly, but because of that, we don't really have as much ability to do what we need as far as making it extremely customized. But the way I'm going to show you how to do it today is quite literally the best way to do it because it's so malleable and do exactly what you're looking for. The sky's the limit. There's no other way to put it. All right, so I'm clicking over the automations tab and then I'm going to go over to a sandbox folder and then create new workflow, start from scratch. So now we're literally going to go through and build this entire thing so that there's no confusion. So the intention of this workflow is to catch any customer replies that are coming in. So type in customer replied and then you're going to click add filters. Now from here, we're able to see exactly what type of channel we want to use by clicking reply channel. And as you can see, these are all the different possibilities you can do. And the benefit of this is that it's a relatively plug and play system as far as the only difference you're going to have to be doing depending on which platform you're using is changing this reply channel. So for this first node, we're going to do Instagram DM and then just click save trigger. Okay, so now customer replied. I'm going to show you how to set it up for SMS. So you go over to reply channel and then you click SMS. And then there's one more step you need to do, info number, and then choose your specific phone number that you have bought. Right, so we got our phone number, then just click save. And then lastly, I'll show you how to set it up for Facebook. And then WhatsApp is the same thing. You just got to link it with your number, just like for SMS, Facebook Messenger. Okay, so how it's set up right here for Facebook Messenger and for Instagram. This is essentially like an open query, meaning any DM or message that comes through will get handled at this point. So if you don't want that, which it can be problematic, like let's say your mom texts you or DMs you, or, obviously that's going to be out of scope of what a lead is. So how you can get past this is either doing a reply to a workflow in which you have an opt-in form take place prior. So let's say you have a separate automation and you do a trigger word setup. Like I can show you a quick example here, what I mean by that. Okay, so like in this trigger I have set up, don't get overwhelmed by any of this. But basically, if a customer replies to me, this is just to catch the very first thing, in which if they reply with blueprint, we actually give them a tag. Now, this tag is now basically the pass key in order to get in anywhere, right? So going back over to our workflow and then just opening up the sandbox again. So let's say you have a separate reply channel and you gave them a tag. Has tag, and then now you can add, that tag that I just showed you. And this is kind of like the pass key. And what that means is this reply channel we're in can be an infinite loop, meaning anytime a new reply takes place from a lead, it'll forever be handled in here. And this just makes things a lot more efficient. Other than having a billion different workflows just for one single reply, we're able to continue to use this on like a bot loop. And to give you a visual what I mean by that, so the AI will take over the conversation and it'll essentially work like this in a loop per reply. So it depends how you want it set up. If you have a very broad account, then you may be able to get away with just doing open query replies. But specifically, if you're building multiple different AIs with different contexts for things, definitely have it set it up on a passkey. I only personally work with passkeys because I have like 10 different automations running on my account. Okay, cool. So I'm actually going to rename these real quick just so we don't get confused. Facebook. Stop. This. Okay, now that we renamed them, I'm going to do an if else statement, and this is to differentiate them. And the reason I'm differentiating them is because you could easily have all these different reply channels still in one workflow. It's very easy, very seamless, and this is how you set that up. And so basically, what it's going to do now is if and when the triggers come through, it's only going to parse the specific messaging platform that we want it to onto the further workflow. So what this is going to act to do now is organize them. So only Facebook messages are going to go to the Facebook branch, Instagram messages to the Instagram branch, SMS branch, right? So now we're able to just differentiate things so we could have different contexts set up in each of them. So moving back real quick, because I realize this is actually a pretty significant step that I want you guys to understand. As far as the opt-in goes, I don't want to fade that. So let me just pull up another one. We'll pull up this one. Okay, so the reason these opt-ins are so good, as I said, because you can add your passkey here. We have a YouTube passkey, right? So another good part of these is that you can do your introductory phrasing here. For instance, if they do a comment, you could send them over a comment reply. But specifically, let's say they DM you for the very first time with the trigger word. Obviously, this is going to be very case specific, so you can get away with, sending an actual message. Like here, I have a button set up, so it's like, hey, click the yes, send it over button, and then I'll send you over the details. If and when they do, then I'll ask them for their email. There's so many different. You don't have to ask for email. I just like data collection, and then I finally drop the YouTube video, right? And so what this allows now is for me to get the initial context out of the way because especially when you're building out multiple AIs. You don't want to give the AI a task of doing, hey, do the initial welcoming message when you don't have to for the sake of cost per reply. Because we're going to be using make.com and OpenAI, it just doesn't make sense to be wasting tasks sending that out just for an initial introduction. So let's say you're a fitness coach and you have your leads text you six pack abs, right? So now anyone that's going to be messaging that, of course, should get the initial lead magnet you're offering. And then from there, you can just pitch it off to the AI. So let's say you go through that. We literally don't need any of this below. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I'm just going to delete this all just to show you what I mean. Okay, so now literally we just have a lead. Let's say it's the trigger word six pack, right? So we're going to give them that pass key with a tag, add that tag. So the lead now has this tag, right? So now what's going to happen in the other workflow we set up, as long as this tag is there and they do end up replying, we will catch that reply and immediately run the AI onto it, right? So just remember this whole tagging convention and having that initial welcome, right? Now, just so we're on the same page, I'm going to add the tag in here. We're going to do example tag for all of these. All right, so now that they're all tagged, there'll never be any sort of like messaging traffic that'll take place where an out of scope lead is suddenly conversing with AI in this way. And also, now that every lead has the example tag passkey, when we pitch this off to the AI, it'll understand the exact context. But all right, well, they came from the example passkey, so I know the context is that this is an example YouTube video. So now when you pass it off to the AI, they'll be like, okay, well, I know because of this specific passkey, this is the exact context, and I'll show you how we're able to train it on that later on in this video. So now that we've received the user reply, we need to update the user's contact and basically apply their message to the contact before we ship it off to make.com. And how we do that, you type in update contact field, And then we are going to be creating a custom field in here. Now, I already have mine set up, and I'm going to show you guys here in a second how to create a custom field. But basically, what you're going to do is choose whichever custom field you do have set up. I have a bunch in here. Let's go with user reply one for just for this example. And then you're going to click on this little tag button, and then you're going to click message and then message body. So this user reply within Go High Levels denotion is a message body. So we're now going to apply their specific message body over to this custom field before we ship it off. Okay, now for the sake of the convenience of this video, we can go ahead and copy them over. But of course, if you do have different messaging going, then of course you can do different custom fields depending on where they're going. I'm essentially just showing this on different platforms to show that it's so plug and play. It doesn't matter the system. So let's say you wanted to do SMS as kind of a third party form of contact just to give them some news and updates, but you want Instagram and Facebook to be the hard drivers of appointment setting, then you could literally have an SMS bot on a completely different workflow. And so only Instagram and Facebook is intensive on this specific objective, and then SMS may have a completely different context. The beauty of this, you can literally set up infinite AIs, right? Okay, so now all these branches are set up to catch the user reply that's coming in. I'm gonna show you to set up that custom field to make this possible. So you're gonna back out and you're gonna go over to settings. And now within settings, you're gonna scroll down to custom fields. Now, once you're within custom fields, you don't have to put in a specific folder. I like to put mine in the contact folder for organization though. And then you're gonna click add field and then multi-line, click next, and then name it whatever. So you can do like user reply channel, something like that. And then click save. Okay, then what we're gonna do also is create an additional custom field, and this custom field will act as the receiver of the ChatGPT message that's gonna be generated for when we're bringing it back from make.com over to GoHighLevel. So I already have one set up, but example message received. You can literally name it whatever you want. We just need another custom field that's multi-line in order to act as the payload for when we're coming back. And then you're gonna click save. And that's literally all you need to do. And so now when you go back into your automations, I go into my sandbox, and then if you look, if I search for it, there it is, user reply channel. And then you just click it, and then you're able to apply the payload to that. I also want to note, watch, sometimes if you do a brand new custom field, there's no data to initially attribute it to. So sometimes you'll find that when you click message, it's completely blanked out, and you're like, oh, what the hell? What do I do? My Go High Level's broken. And it's usually just because you've never used a messaging trigger before. So sometimes you literally need to just run a test trigger, whether that be on Instagram or SMS or whatever, in order to get some initial data loaded in here. But another pro tip you can do if you want to mitigate this is you literally just type in squiggly bracket, message dot body, and then close bracket, just like this. You can just copy it in. And this is like a hard coded value. So it'll mean nothing at first until you get your first trigger through the door, and Go High Level will understand exactly what it's supposed to be as far as, okay, this is the message body, even though he custom wrote it in and didn't just click the button. It'll understand. So don't worry about that. All right, so now that we have our message loaded, we're ready to shoot it off to make.com. So we're going to do webhook, and then we're going to do post, and then we're going to do a placeholder here for now, and then add custom data, user reply. So you don't need to do the add custom data. It'll throw it all over anyway. I usually just like to add it just because it'll show up a little more clearly when we send it over. So I specifically did user reply for mine. So I'm looking for my user reply. Our user response. Okay, cool. So now what this is going to do, it's going to send a payload of all the custom fields in general, but I'm kind of prioritizing it with this. It's like, hey, send this one and have it, a little more notable over on the payload, and then click save. I just put .com for now to save the placeholder for it to actually read it. Just for the sake of showing you guys, duplicate it so no matter the platform, the webhook will be shot out. Now, I also want to note this is a very simple way of actually sending it over. There's so many bells and whistles you can add to a custom AI build, and that's even what I specialize for my clients. We go above and beyond to create these builds and really customize exactly what's going on, the context. It's a whole bunch of sales strategy stuff, but at a high level, this is how you get the payload over to make.com and then get a reply back to actually generate the message. All right, so now we're on make.com. I clicked new scenario, and what you're going to do is click webhook, and then you're going to do custom webhook. Now click create webhook. This doesn't matter. I mean, you can name it if you want. I'm going to do UI level example. All right, cool. So now what you're going to do is click copy address to clipboard, and it's going to copy our webhook address. So now we can go back into GoHighLevel and then paste our webhook. Just throwing it everywhere to show y'all. Cool. Save that. Now, if and when we run into a scenario where contact does reply, GoHighLevel will receive the information and it'll now shoot it over to make.com. All right, now over back on make.com, now that we have our webhook, just click save and then add another module. And we're going to do OpenAI and you're going to do message and assistant. Now, assuming that you don't have a OpenAI account signed in yet, you just click sign in and then there should be a button for you to automatically go over to your OpenAI account in order to sign into everything. You're going to need to create a secret key just to show you guys an example of kind of what that looks like. So I'm going to click add and then if you click OpenAI account API keys and you already have your OpenAI account signed in another tab, it'll literally push you over and immediately assimilate things. This is going to be the fastest way to do things. And then over on your OpenAI account now, this is specifically an OpenAI Playground account. It's not the front end user account. Just type in platform.openai.com and you'll be able to find the Playground side of things where you can actually do some business operations in. And now if you click over to the API keys, you actually need to create a new secret key, name it whatever you want, and then click create secret key in order to apply the specific API that we're going to need. Another reason this feature is important is that again allows you to separate the context of the AIs so that there's no traffic coming through each other and it's not, confusing the conversation flow or confusing the context that's taking place. I can't stress enough how beneficial the system is because we're able to leverage so many different contexts. So, like for instance, for my clients, I always set up a post-booking AI as well, and their whole objective is to confirm the booking and continue to ask any questions the lead has. And the reason this is great is because I tell the AI, hey, you don't need to get too intensive with the sales. They already know everything. This is just about confirming their booking and handling any questions if they do come available. All right, now the next step on the OpenAI node is you actually have to select an assistant. Now, going back over to my OpenAI account, I'm going to click on Playground. And as you can see, we have assistants right here. Now, if you don't have an assistant yet, you're literally going to name a new one. And it's here you're going to be building out your knowledge base. I could literally make an entire video on how to generate knowledge bases, but essentially think of this as the prompt or script you're going to be giving to the AI, but you do have to take it a step further because you also have to kind of stress test it, as I like to call it, buff out any of the kinks in the conversation that you don't like. Be like, hey, don't use emojis, or hey, try to keep it under 40 words. I usually like to do a bit of an appointment setting flow, tell it a step by step on how exactly to go about saying things, and then finally push the lead over to the final sales call. I'm not going to fully read through all this, but as you can see, I've literally got a symphony of information. But what I wanted to highlight here specifically is at the end of it, I have my appointment setting flow, literally telling it step by step what to do. This is how I personally like to interact with my leads that are interested in getting AI sales agents built to optimize their sales funnel. So it's completely offloaded for them, right? And at the end, I have a calendar booking so they can actually decide to book in a call with me. But again, it definitely varies exactly what you're going for. And this is also where you're going to add your context. So you got to be like, hey, this lead's coming from Instagram. Going back to the fitness example, they're looking to get a six pack, provide some details, maybe provide a bit of value on some quick things on how they can reach that goal in the meantime and explain and try to tie that in how your coaching can get them there at an accelerated rate. It's awesome because these AIs aren't stupid, especially if you choose one of the smarter models. If you go with 3.0, of course, it's going to be a little more diminished or 3.5. I recommend going with ChatGPT 4.0. Cost per message generated is going to also depend on which platform you're going with. Obviously, the newer models are going to be more expensive. ChatGPT 4.0 is doing great for now, but I'm also really looking forward to when they release ChatGPT 5.0 because then, of course, we're going to have even smarter brains to work with. And again, like AI is taking over the sales appointment setting industry, sales fulfillment industry in general. So this is really your time to get in on the ground floor and start integrating something like this. So when the AI wave does take over, you're not scrambling with your shitty appointment setters and then being like, all right, I finally need to get on AI when all your competitors are already locked in on everything. They've already got their sales fulfillment automated and dialed, and they're just going to be able to scale a lot faster than you ever could, still working with your human manpower. Anyway, so now that your AI assistant is set up, you've given it the knowledge base that it needs. And again, you can write it a symphony of information. So this is just a quick example. Hey, how's it going? I'm interested in your services. And it's just a quick way to role play and kind of stress test things. Honestly, if you're going to do an AI build right, you really have to stress test it a lot. Like even this conversation flow, I'm reading it and I'm like, you know what? There's some room for improvement there. And when it boils down, I'm going to go back over to the pipeline real quick. When it boils down to sales fulfillment, the reason I have a pipeline set up like this showing who's talking with the lead, who's been proposed to call, who's booked in, is because it really helps to track drop offs and see where your conversation flow is most flawed to try to optimize for that. Because at the end of the day, this is a numbers game. You know, everything about marketing, online sales, and especially when you're using an AI appointment setter, you have to be tracking the numbers. Otherwise, the conversation may not be on par with how leads are interacting with it. Maybe the timing's off. There's so many little variables that you're able to measure. Luckily, with a backend system like this, so it makes it seamless at least to actually track and identify where your shortcomings are and how to overcome them. Now that we have assistant, we just select the name. You're going to change role to assistant. And then we're going to wait on message for now because we have to pull in the incoming payload from GoHighLevel in order to set up this message. So I'm just going to put a placeholder here just so it'll let us save fine. All right, finally, three-step node, we're gonna link it back to GoHighLevel. So type in lead connector, so high level connector. What we're gonna do is update contact. For the same way within GoHighLevel, we updated the contact to attribute it to that specific message. We're gonna update a different custom field to tell that, okay, cool. Well, we're gonna update this back to the contact, send it back to GoHighLevel, and then we'll be able to manage that and push it over to the user now with the actual reply that took place. Once again, you got to link your Go High Level. If you don't have your Go High Level link, you can click Add Local Auth 2.0, and then Go High Level. You can name it whatever, and then you click Save, and then it may ask you for a custom key, an API key. In which case, you go back over to your agency page, click Settings, and then when you scroll down, it'll be right here, API key. It'll be hidden. All you have to do is click Copy, and then paste it over, and then your lead connector should be set up. Anyway, so once we're in here, I'm also going to leave a placeholder here for now. And we're going to go back in and add the contact ID once we have our payload set up. So we've done everything we can do on make.com now. So now it's time to simulate an example over on GoHighLevel and push a lead through our pipeline. Okay, so back on GoHighLevel, I'm going to set up a scenario where a lead texted me testing, again, just for our testing purposes. We're going to add the tag, example tag, and we're going to send them an initial message. In this case, hey, are you looking to book more sales calls on your calendar? And then I'm also going to take an extra mile and show you guys how to initially set up the opportunity section now. So assuming you already have your pipeline set up, it's crazy easy to build a pipeline. It's literally just putting words in there. Pipeline only makes sense if you actually, have automations in the back end to run it. So new lead came in, so we're gonna click new lead. We haven't reached out to them yet, and then we're gonna publish this and click save. So now this is quite literally live now. So I'm gonna go through and message on my Instagram account, and I just want to show you guys the pipeline. I don't want to confuse you guys or leave you out on anything. So how I just added that pipeline. So create new pipeline example. You can put anything in here, right? Two. Okay, cool. So now I literally have a random example pipeline. Now back in our automation, I just want to show, look, now the example set up in pipeline, example one, example two. It's that easy to set them up. So again, I'm just going to move with the new lead pipeline I already have set up, or the AI appointment setter pipeline I already have set up. Cool. So now I'm going to go over to Instagram. So now I'm on Instagram, just on my personal account, text the AI testing or texting go high level testing, and this will initialize the AI. And then bam, we got our first reply just to show also on my phone doing it. So when we go back to go high level now, if you click over to execution logs, bam. So our new system is now in. So I was added to the workflow, added that tag that'll act as my pass key, sent that DM, and then we created our opportunity in our pipeline. So now everything's organized. Perfect. Lead is initialized. We never need to use this trigger again to actually initialize the conversation. Now everything will reside within our other automation flow we have set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and publish this one now, just so we're live. All right, so we got this live. So because our webhook is not live yet, what we have to do is click run once in order for it to just listen. Of course, once it's actually live and it's turned on, it'll just immediately start listening and receiving things. But because this is an offline build we're currently working on, you have to click run once and then it'll start loading, right? So now we're green light to actually start messaging over here again. So I'll say, send your calendar. I want to book in a call. Sent that over. And now what you'll notice now is now that I've done this, bam. So we've now just accepted. It's going to fail on here because we have more information to add. But look, so it currently just listened. We got our webhook through, and this is good because we now have data to mess with over on this end of things. And then if you click over in the execution logs also, you'll notice this was like a previous run before I had it to listen. I had to cut that, but we added a workflow branch, and then we got our webhook sent over, and the contact was updated with our specific message from the payload. So now that our data has been loaded in here, if you click over to the OpenAI node and then click on our placeholder from earlier, you'll see we now have a ton of webhooked data. Now I have a ton of different custom fields. That's why you're seeing a whole bunch of jargon as well. But what I wanted to note is the fact that we have our payload in here. So that'll be our user response, whatever you set yours up as. As you can see, even the example one that I set up, if I can find it, is also in here. See user reply channel. So any custom field you set up will throw in here, but we attributed this one to the message, and that's why next to user response, we're actually seeing the message that I said, send your calendar. And just to run the same page, it's because we added that message body that user response is now going to be attributed to our message. And then I personally like to do show advanced settings and then scroll down and then simply switch response format over to text. Every once in a while, it can get a little screwy if you don't add this as far as the message that just machine confusion. It may package it in a different light than we need, but this just guarantees it'll only ever send text back. And that's really what we're looking for. So it just bulletproofs us. Anyways, click save. And now going over to the GoHighLevel lead connector. Again, now that we have data coming in, we can also apply this. So we need to add our contact ID. For context, every single user is going to have a unique contact ID, and this acts as the memory key essentially. So this allows for a continuous conversation to take place without the AI, restarting or being like, wait, this is a new conversation. I'm going to start back from step one. As long as that contact ID parses through each time now, the AI is going to understand, okay, this is the same contact from earlier. I'm going to continue the conversation where we left off, and there's just no confusion, which is great. And then you're going to scroll down now over to that second payload that we built earlier. If you remember, we had built two custom fields. That first one to receive it, and then the second one to send it back over to GoHighLevel. So for myself personally, I have my custom field GPT Assistant response message, and then what you're going to do is click on result. Now this is the AI generated result that took place. So just throw that in there and then click save. Okay, so now what we have to do is rerun the system because this first time around, it solely acted to load data for the first time, and so we weren't able to get a successful output. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unsend my message and then resend it just for the sake of doubling back on the AI and telling it again, hey, let's get this thing going. All right, just resent that message. Oh, almost forgot you got to click run once. Use existing data because I just shot it over, so it already received it. But for the sake of you guys, I'm gonna redo it once more. So it's listening now. So we're gonna unsend and just shoot it out once more. Bam. Now going back over to make.com, we just gotta wait for the webhook to come through. There it is. Now OpenAI is thinking. Perfect. Now we have it sent all the way back over to lead connector. That's great. But as you'll notice, no replies coming through. And it's because GoHighLevel's received the information, cool, but it's got nothing to do with it until we set it up to have something to do. So what I'm going to do now is create an additional workflow within the same folder, just so it's more clear cut on what's going on. So what we're going to do here is contact changed. And again, what this means by contact changed, this GoHighLevel lead connector is to update a contact. So anytime something about that contact changes, GoHighLevel will pick up on that, and we're going to leverage that as our trigger. So what you're going to do is use the custom field that you sent the result to as the factor that gets changed as our trigger. So in my example, since I attributed the result to GPT Assistant response message, I'm going to go back over to GoHighLevel, find GPT Assistant response message, and click has changed, right? So now it's been updated with that new payload, that new result. And what we can do then is click Instagram DM. And then what you're going to do is click custom values, click on your contact, scroll down, custom fields, and then click assistant response message. And it's going to be in this brackets. And what that's going to do is output the text of the result of whatever OpenAI said. Now, what you want to do also set up a little bit of a filter, especially if you have multiple AIs. It can get really messy because, essentially, let's say you have three different AIs. All three different workflows you have set up are now going to receive this assistant message. And so you can end up shotgunning way too many messages when obviously you only need to be sending one. And how you can get around this is you add an if else statement, and you can parse it to only let the message through if they have that passkey that we've been talking about. So contact details, and then you're going to click over on tags and click includes and then example tag. So now it will only send the Instagram message if the assistant response message has changed and the user also has the example passkey associated with that contact field, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and publish this. Perfect. Now, one more time, I'm going to unsend this message and then resend it because now our AI appointment setter is fully capable of receiving a message and sending one back. All right, so now that that's all set up within make.com, we're ready to actually turn it on. So I'm going to click immediately as data arrives, and then you can even back out and actually flip the switch on just to ensure that everything's running properly, but it should now be ready to catch anything that's coming through. Okay, so now that our GoHighLevel is set up within my sandbox account, I'm going to turn the switch on, delete all data. We don't need to do that. We just want to start fresh. So now that it's on, it will handle any incoming reply that takes place. So going back over to Instagram now, I'm going to unsend my message and I'm going to resend it because make.com is now ready to receive any incoming message and we're able to track it also through GoHighLevel. If you go back over to our incoming message, the time is now 1 p.m. and at 1 p.m. 55 seconds, we saw the webhook or 54 seconds webhook went out, and then we're also able to track within the send message back or just to show you guys also. Great, here's my calendar link. So bam, that got shot out, but I wanted to show within Go High Level. I know I'm moving fast. Within Go High Level, we had the add to workflow because make.com updated our contact with the ChatGPT message. And then we had branch confirmed its passkey example tag in this scenario. And then we shot them the Instagram DM, bada bing, bada boom. And that's pretty much it as far as the user actually being able to receive the message now. And then I can continue to talk to it and it'll just do its thing. So like here, I'm just gonna ask it something again, and it's pretty fast. What I like to do, I'll show you guys how to set up a wait stage. You know, especially if you're trying to talk to cold leads, you want to try to mask it from being an automation, obviously, because it's going to be better for building rapport. There's that message generated as I'm going to continue to talk, but it'll be better for building rapport because it really does seem like someone took the time to type. And I'm talking like a 1-2 minute delay, nothing too long because you still want to strike the iron while it's hot. If the lead's there for conversation, might as well have it. So how you would set up something like that, super simple. So right before that Instagram message takes place, you're gonna click wait, and then you could set up whatever. I personally recommend doing an obscure time. So like you can do like 1 minute, 2 minute, and then it'll literally wait before then. It'll hold them in this node, and then once that time's satisfied, it'll finally spit out that DM. And then going back to what we were talking about earlier with the opportunities and pipelines. So now that we're talking with AI, as I showed in my sales pipeline, I have new leads. AI reached out and then talking with AI. So now that they've replied to us, we can say that they're talking with AI, right? And what's really awesome is that you can also set up specific contexts. So, like this can get extremely elaborate. Let me show you a quick example of what I mean by that. So here's an example of one of the AI builds that I have set up. So like I was explaining earlier, we have a lead section, and then I like to build mine so they're able to handle multiple responses at once because, a big flaw with a lot of these automations is they can't handle double, triple, quadruple text. And you set that up by attributing different custom fields directly to that message. So let's say message one gets field response one, message two gets field response two, and then you just shoot all those different messages over in the payload to make.com to make that possible. But what I wanted to note here for you guys is so this is my incoming webhook back. As you can see, like I talked about, we have assistant message response changed, and then we have our passkey taking place. And I even have set up, hey, if there's like a webhook follow up, or if we don't want follow ups, little things like that, because we don't want every message to come through if there's some back end context. But what I have set up here is based on the specific conversation that took place, or based on the specific message that took place within Assistant GPT, we're scanning for whatever phrasing was used, right? So let's say the lead booked in, we trained an AI to be like, hey, reply back, fantastic, looking forward to our chat. And then we're able to denote that in a specific pipeline now. All right, well, we know that if the AI said this phrase, then the lead indeed booked in. We're able to update their field and all that with all that information. And then another reason this is great also is because you can now get more granular with the type of context and follow ups you're doing. You can add them to various workflows. So something that's really cool you can do also is you can click add to workflow after this whole slew of things has been satisfied. And the reason that is great, I don't want to overwhelm you guys, so let me just ignore this bottom stuff down here. So let's say just like we just did, we have the Instagram DM just getting sent. You would click add to workflow, and then let's say you have a follow-up sequence taking place. You could just set them up in that follow-up sequence. See, I have tons of follow-up sequences for this client. And then you could push them through those sequences. And then now you have a perfect closed loop where if the lead stops responding to you, they'll get hammered with follow-ups. And assuming they continue to just chat with the AI, it'll push them towards the objective of booking a call. And this is just to show you guys kind of example of what a follow-up sequence could look like. So you can make these hard-coded or AI driven. If you're going to make them AI driven, it's the same context as far as web hooking stuff over to the AI in order to, understand what's going on. Otherwise, you could set up something like this. This is oddly specific to his business model, but we have different wait stages that are taking place, and we're even tagging them to understand exactly where they're at in the follow-up sequence, right? So it's as simple as just adding to workflow, and then you can push them through a follow-up sequence as well. And then here's a look into an AI-driven follow-up sequence. As you can see, we're parsing the lead again. Obviously, if they have a no follow-ups tag, then they should not be in this pipeline. And then we're updating the contact field with the context of the follow-up that needs to be taking place, adding a tag, and then we're webhooking. This is a dated one before we were using Zapier. I do not recommend using Zapier anymore, just because Make.com is significantly cheaper and it's more efficient in general. So I'm actually in the process later today of onboarding this guy onto Make.com because it's going to be a way faster system for him. But that's the whole idea here. We're webhooking stuff over to send over the payload and then send it back over into our actual GoHighLevel account. Now, I also want to note one final factor. Sometimes you'll see guys online, specifically for Make.com, with some sort of crazy elaborate workflow that's taking place within Make.com. But the reason this only has to be 3 nodes is because a lot of our elaboration is done within GoHighLevel. Now, I want to warn against using an automation like Make.com to directly send to Instagram or SMS. It's very much possible to do everything we showed in GoHighLevel, specifically just platform specific on Make.com. But what you have to understand is that Make.com will likely get you flagged if you try to send an outbound Instagram DM or SMS message directly on this platform, solely because Meta is already very skeptical about third-party platforms messaging with their leads, and they're trying to make sure that there's no spam and that users are having a pleasant time on their platforms. So the last thing Meta wants or SMS regulations allow is for spam and annoyance. And so GoHighLevel has a lot more back-end compliance behind it. And what I mean by that is when you're sending over automated messages like this from third-party platforms, it takes an API call. Now, an API call is basically calling our servers and telling Meta servers or SMS, hey, send over this message. But they all have like an invisible label associated with them, and that's not for us. That's not for our benefit or anything. That's so, the backend APIs can kind of help automatically scan for regulations and block bullshit from coming through. Now, GoHighLevel has a significantly more reputable category or name tag that's associated with the payloads we're sending over to third-party platforms like Instagram, Facebook, SMS, WhatsApp. So, because GoHighLevel is more reputable, highly recommend sending your Instagram DMs, SMS text, emails, all sourced within GoHighLevel. But I just wanted to show you, you could theoretically set it up through here, Instagram for Business, or you can even set up like an SMS one as well. Like you can, again, theoretically send it through here, but if you have a GoHighLevel account, you're already going to be hosting, all your CRM and contact lists through there. So might as well just stay on the platform because it'll help you in the long run as well, not get your account banned or not get your phone number flagged and you have to go through the whole A2P re-verification thing. It's a huge mess, it takes way too long. So but yeah, guys, that's all there is to it. I hope that made sense. I know this is a longer video, but a lot of what I went over today could be huge for your business if you apply it properly. Once again, just to open your eyes, like you could literally have an AI set up to, specifically reach out, let's say on Instagram, you can have it set up on a delay timer. And then if they don't respond, then you can hit them with different follow-up sequences. Separately from that, you could also be hitting them through an SMS channel of things, trying to book the lead onto a sales call or conversing with them, sending over some sort of news or important information, then also be hitting them with an email drip sequence, all side by side. I don't recommend ever, from a marketing standpoint, just doing, one stream and hoping for the best because the reality is it's a numbers game. Once again, the more touch points you can make with the lead, the better. If you have any questions, I'm going to be leaving my Instagram link down below, so feel free to message me with any questions you have. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you're feeling overwhelmed with what I went through today, or you're trying to get more advanced with the customization like my company does and actually make a custom tailored AI that completely offloads your entire sales process, so all you're doing is posting content, running ads, and hopping hopping on sales calls, feel free to book a call with me down below, and I'll show you how we're able to guarantee 30 plus booked sales calls using our AI powered model over the next 60 days of working with us. And that's a complete guarantee. You'll get at least 30 booked sales calls. And if you don't, we keep working with you at no extra cost until you do. And no, I'm not here to siphon money out of your account or take some sort of monthly fee. This is a build and release in which you'll get 100% ownership to the build that you can continue to use month over month. Why is this good? Because you can completely undercut having to pay a human sales team to do that same capacity of work. But, this way, you get to make your money back tenfold because once the system's in place, once it's set up, once it's dialed, you can continue to use it. I have several clients that I've built models for. They're still using my services, even though I'm not even with them anymore. So they're saving thousands of dollars each month by using a system like this. That's why AI is so lucrative. That's why it's going to blow the appointment setting industry out of the water. And this is your chance really to get in on the ground floor and build out a model that you can have with you year over year. And if you're new to my channel, I'm going to be dropping way more AI tutorials like this, going over dialers, different use cases. So if you have any requests on things you want to see or learn how to do, feel free to drop a comment requesting what you want to see next, and I'll be happy to make a video over that and try to help you guys understand how to navigate this AI world, this AI realm, finally get some sales calls booked onto your calendar, and hopefully start making some cash. And on that note, I'll see you in the next video.